their issues. Now, the issues with plastic water bottles is that bottled water is a major part of the economy. It is the largest beverage market in the U.S. economy and in the world economy. And plastic water bottles, they're created with PET plastic, and PET plastic is non-biodegradable. It takes a lot of oil and water itself to produce the plastic, and it takes 2 liters to produce out of every 1 liter of water bottle, out of bottled water. So the importance of our topic, bottled water employs 653,274 jobs in the U.S. Economy. It has 36 billion 451 million $650,600 in wages, and it has 153 billion 248 million $973,600 of economic outputs in the U.S. economy. But the downsides of bottled water, it has 60 million tons of plastic end up in landfills daily. Now, or 60,000 bottles end up in landfills daily. 8 million tons of plastic are emptied out into the ocean yearly around the world. Many of this is from the U.S. and from China, and it ends up in the Pacific Garbage Patch, which is around the Pacific Ocean. And it comes from the U.S., from China, from these coastal these coastal countries, such as also Taiwan, Japan. But Japan has been using a lot of these solutions that we will talk about in our project to eliminate their plastic bottle usage. So the graph on the left represents the economic growth of the bottled water economy. Now the bottled water market is growing at a 10% rate every year. It's projected to reach $300 billion by 2021. $300 billion by 2021, and it has been growing a lot due to health concerns of tap water, because many tap water crises, like the one in Flint, Michigan. There was a outbreak of E. coli in Australia in around the early 2000s that really saw a jump in the Australian water bottle market. And the graph on the right shows the amount of plastic waste management monitored by the EPA every year. This is monitored by the EPA. There is 35 million tons of plastic are monitored by the EPA, but this does not show plastic that's not monitored, such as littering, as illegal dumping into the ocean, illegal dumping into landfills, and illegal burning. Now, of this 35 million tons, 25 million tons end up in landfills. These landfills this plastic is non-biodegradable. It'll stay in these landfills for thousands of years. It takes 1,000 years for one plastic water bottle to be degraded.
Bottled water, even though it is a very important part of our economy, produces too much waste. Many politicians and activists believe that is the best solution, because if people do not have access to bottled water, then they don't have the chance to waste them. According to The Guardian, San Francisco was the first city to ban bottled water in 2014, but only on city-owned properties. That law was later extended to the sale at large events on city-owned properties and to government officials visiting or a part of the San Francisco government. The second place that did this was Washington University, which banned the sale of bottled water on their campus in 2009, and it also included retail outlets near or on the campus. From 2009 to 2015, 39.4% of all bottled water products or bottled products decreased, and the product that was hit the most was carbonated drinks, which declined by 50%. the third one was according to the New York Times, one Norwegian cruise line banned bottled water on their ships to cut back on pollution. They're going to switch to paper cups by 2020, and are estimated to save about 6 million bottles. Some drawbacks to these bans are the bottled water industry employs hundreds of thousands of jobs and generates a yearly output of about $153 billion. And if you stop that, then the economy would suffer a lot. And by banning bottled water, it would cut down on the choices of the consumer. And while removing bottled water from the market might seem like it would help, it wouldn't help with the existing pollution problems that occur around the world.
There's also a second concept of solutions in solving the first world countries' economic footprint, and that aims at more inventive and innovative mindset, which is creating more sustainable solutions and resources. These aim at solutions that we all know of, such as water fountains, reusable water bottles, water packets, which we can create more of and promote. And there are also more complex solutions beginning to be found, such as water packets. Iowa colleges, for example, a few years ago focused on this tactic. One sophomore claims, "We went a different route of just promoting reusable water bottles and getting the word out about how bad plastic is." All around campus, they inserted new water fountains and provided reusable water bottles to all the students, but this has its drawbacks as well. It can cost $1,000 to $2,000 just to simply install the water fountains in large quantities, and more directly at the solution, students seem to have lost their water bottles, creating a kind of a waste of energy and time. Adele Peters writes for Fast Company of another innovative solution, and the solution is water packets. It is a cheap, biodegradable, and edible bag filled with water, which the consumer can eat or wish to throw away after consumption. The London-based industrial design used plant-based matter along with recycled paper, so it is 100% safe on the environment. It rethinks how people waste their packets, and they could eat instead of throwing it away. It is also easily accessible, estimated to be at $120 per packet, but this has its direct drawbacks as well. Some argue that it will not stay clean before consumption, and others argue that society will not change their norms and eat globs of water. Overall, for the innovative solution standpoint, the main drawbacks aim that it will take a long time for society to completely adjust. Inventions are timely to develop and cost a lot of money, and of course inventions could backfire, resulting in a waste of time and effort.
Okay, so our third solution is the breakdown of plastics on a microbial level. So there are two main effects that the microbes can have on the plastic. One is that they colonize the plastic and then they just break it down into smaller microplastics that can just break down naturally faster. And then the second is the microbes can reduce the sea to air CO2 exchange by 15%. And what's a positive about the use of microbes is that there is a variety of species that can colonize the plastic quickly and break it down fast. But one study used the microbe Daphnia magnia to break down the plastic, and they found that it raised the O2 levels in the water by breaking down the plastic. Some drawbacks of microbial degradation is that it's still a new idea, and further research and experiments are needed to fully understand it. And then there are some other environmental drawbacks, including the need of radiation from the sun and the need of underlying water to reflect the composition of the microbes for them to perform at their peak, as well as these microbes can diffuse diseases into the plastic and spread them easier.
Our conclusion is we researched these three solutions and figured out that the best solution in our is the new invention solution. So the reason why we think the new invention solution is the best solution is because there's no huge economic drop, like the complete ban of bottled water. It increases innovation and it stimulates the economy in these new in telling people to kind of stimulating people to create new ideas, and then as new influxes in cash flow to other businesses, they can start up new businesses with these new inventions, and then it can be employed on a large scale. It can be employed around the world. A group of researchers can collaborate to produce a large-scale invention that could not only solve the existing pollution that we have right now, but also stop pollution in the future. Thank you.
Okay.